Okay, imagine this. Just days after an absolutely horrific airline tragedy, families are deep in grief, right? And then you see this video, top executives from a company directly linked to the flight, hosting this high-energy DJ party, dancing. It's a really jarring image, isn't it? How could something like that even happen? And maybe more importantly, why did it spark such intense outrage?
That contrast, that really jarring image you mentioned, that's exactly what we need to unpack today. In this deep dive, we're going to explore these unsettling events involving executives from Air India SATS, or AISATS, and the tragic Air India flight AI-171. We're drawing only from the sources provided, and our goal here really is to cut through that initial shock. We want to help you grasp the key facts and, crucially, the why it matters, why people felt so strongly.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is to give you, our listener, a clear picture, the specifics of what happened, the very real reasons behind that huge public outcry, and how the company actually responded. It's definitely complex, very sensitive stuff, and we want to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding what went down. We'll be touching on some key people mentioned in our sources, folks like ASAT's CUO Abraham Zakaria, their CFO, who wasn't named, and the Bengaluru Airport GM Sampreet Kochan.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. The timeline is pretty stark. The crash itself, Air India flight AI-171, that was June 12th, a devastating event. Then, just 8 days later, June 20th, this DJ party happens. And ASATS, it's important you understand who they are. It's a joint venture, right? Between Air India Ltd, part of the Tata Group, and AISATS Ltd. Their job is ground operations. And here's the key thing our sources point out. They actually handled the load sheet for the plane that crashed.
Okay, hang on. You said load sheet. Could you quickly explain what that means?
Yeah.
And why is ASATS handling it so significant here?
Yeah, good question. It's really important. A load sheet is, it's a vital document for any flight. It details the aircraft's weight, its balance, how the cargo is distributed, all absolutely critical for safety. So the fact that AISATS handled this specific document for flight AI-171, it puts them right in the operational chain of events linked to this tragedy. It wasn't just some distant connection. It was, pretty direct involvement.
Right. That makes sense. And with that context, the tragedy itself, AI-171, the scale was just immense. We're talking a Boeing 787 Dreamliner flying Ahmedabad to London Gatwick. It crashed shortly after takeoff. And the human cost, as our sources detail, it's just staggering. 241 people on the plane died. Place at least 39 people on the ground. There was only one survivor. Just one. It's genuinely hard to wrap your head around that kind of loss.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And when you hold that scale of loss in your mind, that's when the party footage becomes so incredibly offensive to so many. What the sources really highlight is the timing, the context. At the exact time this party was happening, you had numerous families still waiting, desperately waiting for confirmation of bodies, maybe waiting for DNA identification. There's a phrase used in one source, funeral pyres had reportedly yet to cool. That really hits home, doesn't it? It captures just how raw the grief was and how insensitive this seemed.
Wow. That phrase, funeral pyres had reportedly yet to cool, combined with families waiting on DNA. How much did details like that amplify the outrage? Was it just tone deaf, or did people see it as something deeper, like a direct insult?
I think it went way beyond just being tone deaf. The sources definitely suggest it was seen as a serious lapse in empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you said, maybe even a direct insult. It wasn't just anonymous online anger either. The outrage came straight from the families of the victims, which points to this broader expectation, doesn't it? That when something this terrible happens, companies involved, especially directly involved, should show some solemnity, some respect, not celebratory dancing. The timing was just awful.
It really throws a spotlight on corporate responsibility, doesn't it? And public perception, especially in a crisis. So how did AISATS actually respond when this video blew up online?
Well, AISATS did put out an official statement. They acknowledged the video was circulating. They tried to say it was taken completely out of context, and they offered an apology for any emotional discomfort caused. But our sources are pretty clear that apology really didn't land well. It didn't do much to calm people down. It probably came across more like, standard PR damage control rather than genuine remorse for what seemed like a huge error in judgment, especially given their direct link to the flight's operations. People weren't feeling discomfort, they were feeling outrage.
So wrapping this up, what's the takeaway for you listening to this? This whole incident really shows that massive disconnect, doesn't it, between a corporate celebration and this immense public tragedy, especially, as we've said, when the company had that direct operational tie-in. It's a really stark reminder, I think, about how critical corporate empathy is and just how much public perception matters when things go terribly wrong.
Exactly. And it pushes us to think a bit broader, too. What does this kind of incident mean for corporate responsibility overall? What expectations do we, the public, hold for companies, particularly when they're connected, even indirectly, to such profound human loss? It's not just about their operational performance anymore, is it? It's also about how they act, how they're perceived to act, especially in these incredibly difficult shared moments of grief.
Absolutely. A lot to think about there. This deep dive hopefully gives you a clearer picture and encourages you to keep thinking about how companies navigate their image and accountability when faced with tragedy. It's a fine line, and the stakes for trust are incredibly